is pleased to partner with the Empowerment Congress once again for their 34th annual summit. The summit's theme is From Vision to Action, a forum to unlock participatory democracy, and will feature a nonpartisan gubernatorial candidate forum focused on issues of importance to the African American community. The summit is the signature public policy-oriented observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy during the national 3-day holiday weekend that celebrates his life. This year's summit will be held on Saturday, January 17th, 2026 at the California Science Center in Exposition Park from 9 to 11 a.m. Admission is free, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. All major announced candidates for California governor for the Democratic and Republican Party nominations have been invited to participate in the candidate forum, which will be moderated by Tavis Smiley. An all-star panel of journalists will pose questions to the candidates, and the forum will be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580. This is going to be a big year for local, state, and national politics. The political pulse of 2026 beats on KBLA Talk 1580.
That's the part for me anyway.
This is gonna be a start to finish. And people go when this come out, you're gonna listen to everything and every single word, and everybody's gonna know when you get to the first show after this drop, they're gonna be singing right along and feeling every word.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for it for you.
It's gonna be good to see my people.
This ain't a happenstance or whim. Our love is continual, continuing. This ain't a sin, it's deeper than. Our love is bigger than time or race. Our love is rhythm and chime. It resonates in every space. It fills the place. Beautiful people. Oh, my beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful people. Yes. I love Cancel Mountain. Yes.
You are listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent, joining you for a very special hour, really remembering the LA wildfires and remembering the beautiful people who are rebuilding their lives, that are healing, that we here at KBLA Talk 1580 have never forgotten. We've never forgotten, and we pledge to continue to hold their hand in this journey to rebuild what was lost and to move forward. A year after the Eaton fire, the loss of Altadena, it's still raw. And there are a lot of thought pieces out there. There's a lot of reporting today. But for the leaders, learners, and listeners that have been tapped in, you know that we're not following the pack. You know, we're continuing to keep our eye on the people of Altadena and all of the folks who've been affected by the LA wildfires. When the national news cameras move on, we pick up our mic and we continue to follow the people, the beautiful people. And so this hour, you're going to hear an update from Lauren Randolph. She is with Altadena for Accountability. She's an all-together block captain, and she's also a personal friend. Lauren and I went to college together, and she and her husband, Jordan, who also went to college with us, have two beautiful baby girls and had a beautiful home in Altadena until a year ago when their home went up in flames. And so she's going to give us an update on their road to recovery. But first, I want to share with you my conversation with Jacob Soboroff. You might know him as MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC, correspondent based here in Los Angeles. He is the author of a new book, and we talk about that book and we reflect on this 1-year anniversary. Take a listen. You are listening to and streaming KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to welcome Jacob Soboroff. You all may know him as a correspondent on MS Now, and you might have enjoyed watching him on NBC News as well. Well, you're really going to enjoy his new book that's out now. It is deeply personal. It is investigative in nature. It's called Firestorm: The Great Los Angeles Fire and America's New Age of Disaster. Jacob, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for writing this book. For folks who may be less familiar, you are a native of the Palisades, and your book isn't just about reporting. It's a love letter to Los Angeles, written while you were enduring the tragedy that so many of us were enduring in real time. Talk to us about the moment that you realized that you weren't just covering a story for, MS Now, but witnessing the destruction of, your own neighborhood.
Yeah, there's no way to prepare yourself for covering the decimation, the virtual wiping off the map of two neighborhoods in your home city, the Palisades, where I'm from, and Altadena, where I live close to now. And I watched my childhood home carbonize. I watched my neighborhood, the library, the schools, the parks, all of it incinerate before my very eyes as I was covering this live for a national audience. And I knew at the time I could not process this. What was I witnessing? What were the consequences of this? How could it have possibly happened? And so that's why I wanted to write Firestorm, to dive deeper, to have a better understanding of this moment that we're living in. And while it might read like a sci-fi thriller, as everyone who's in LA knows, this is the truest of true stories. It was a very real lived reality that so many of us went through together. This was a collective experience as much as it was a personal and individual one for me. And I needed this book to unpack and to understand what it was we all experienced together a year ago.
Wow, I think it's really interesting that you said that you needed this book. Talk to us about the moment when you realized that, okay, the story that's churning inside of me needs to live on the page.
From the jump, it wasn't about really what was happening inside of me. It was what wasn't. I couldn't reflect on the gravity of it. I thought it was my past that I was seeing, but really, now that I know what this was, that this was the fire of the future, it was my children's future that I was seeing in front of me, not just memories from my childhood burning up around me. And that's what this book is all about. It's about what the fire of the future is that we experienced it in real time, and there will only be more of these to come. And the book is told through a minute-by-minute accounting of what it was like to be there, but also really in-depth personal examinations of people who experienced this, from Altadena to the Palisades. And I can't wait for people to read the book and to meet the people that I got to meet and heal with together along the way.
I think that's really special, the fact that you include so many stories about real people, because sometimes real people get lost in some of the big headlines.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest headlines is really around this new age of disaster. I'm curious as to how writing this book may have changed your perspective on the disaster beat. There are more of them, not less of them. And at the same time, we're seeing our federal government invest less in them when there are more of them.
It's such a great point. America's New Age of Disaster is one in which, you have fires like this one that are, as one senior emergency management official said to me when we met in Washington, D.C. after the fires, the fire of the future is the confluence of the climate emergency, changes in the way we live. There were electric car batteries exploding all around us, infrastructure falling apart from the Palisades to Altadena, and then misinformation and disinformation on a national political level that made not only the recovery from, but going through the fires themselves very difficult and complicated and confusing. And at a time when, allegedly emergency alerts might have contributed to deaths in places like West Altadena where people didn't know they were supposed to leave. Real-time true information is more valuable than ever. And in some cases, that was exactly the opposite of what we were getting. I do want to give a lot of credit, though, and you'll read about it in the book, the colleagues that I love in the local media who were doing just a stand-up job, giving minute-by-minute analysis in real time about streets that were on fire and where to go and where you couldn't go. They're heroes in this book as much as the firefighters and as much as the people that I met from JPL or the UPS employees that lived on McNally Avenue in Altadena, or the people that work in restaurants in the Palisades. It's personal.
Yeah, it is personal, and I think that also makes a heck of a difference. Let's talk about the anniversary. Today marks the anniversary of the LA wildfires, which has become really a tale of two recoveries. 1 year after the January 7th blazes, the data shows just the stark divide in how the Pacific Palisades and that in Altadena are rebounding. Talk to us about what it's like for you to exist between that tension. As you mentioned earlier, the Palisades, that's where you grew up. But as an adult, you live and you're raising your family closer to Altadena.
I think the recovery is difficult for everybody, but the reality is the Palisades is largely white and affluent, and Altadena is more diverse, and it's a working class community historically. And these events often reveal the fissures within our society and give us an X-ray vision to see what lies beneath the surface. And inequality is a big one. California is unaffordable, and Los Angeles is unaffordable, and people trying to build back, especially in Altadena, are finding that they are selling to corporate investors and not to local Californians. People can't afford to stay here with premiums increasing and the cost of building as high as it is. And the Palisades, same thing. You drive around the streets. I wouldn't be surprised if many people don't end up moving back because you've got big pocketed corporate entities that are buying up this land at a time when it's so hard for anybody to live in LA.
Speaking of corporate entities buying up the land, there are reports that as of today, less than a dozen homes have been fully rebuilt across the entire county. Let's talk a little bit about the so-called vultures, the speculators, and the insurance companies that you mentioned in your reporting. Has shining a light on where they're coming up short? Has it inspire them to take more action and to meet the moment? Or 1 year later, is it more of the same?
Well, the book itself only focuses on the first 2 weeks of the fire, and it really doesn't get into the aftermath or the sort of vicissitudes of the recovery. And I did that on purpose. And I did that because I wanted people to feel like what it felt like to be there. And that's what this book is. It's a real-time experience of being in the fires so that other people outside of LA can understand it. But your point is a very good one, that there are many factors in why the insurance marketplace seems dysregulated to so many people. The premiums going up, people were kicked off their policies before this fire. It makes it extraordinarily impossible, the feeling extraordinarily impossible to rebuild. And I don't fault people for feeling that way for 1 second. My own brother, whose house that he was living in burned down, but the house that they were building and had never gotten to move into survived, are having just as sort of a time getting back into a house that hadn't burned down because of the issues with insurance. And these are issues that we're going to face in California forever, especially as we move into this stage.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
10 athletes will face the toughest job interview in fitness that will push past physical and mental breaking points. You are the fittest of the fit. Only one of you will leave here with an iFit contract for $250,000.
This is when mindset comes in.
Someone will be eliminated.
Pressure is coming down.
Trainer Games on Prime Video January 8th. Watch the trailer on trainergames.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests. As we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and we can't remember the 1-year anniversary of the Eaton fire and not check in with the survivors that have been keeping us abreast over the course of the past year. My dear friend, going all the way back to college, Lauren Randolph and Jordan Gaskin are survivors. Their family are survivors of the Eaton fire. Lauren is a part of Altadena for Accountability. She's an Altogether block captain. This tragedy has really thrust her into the role of activist and survivor. And here to give us an update on things, please welcome Lauren Randolph. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be back.
Well, it's good to have you here. When you woke up this morning, this 1-year anniversary of this devastating fire that has, turned your life, your family's life upside down, what was on your mind this morning?
I don't know that it was anything in particular. I just woke up feeling very heavy. It felt heavy. And then as the day has progressed, I feel more and more weighted down. I met a couple of Altadenans at the tennis courts thinking if I moved and I got out, I would feel better. And then I had my first work call of the day and I just broke down in tears. And luckily they were very kind to me and said, let's reschedule this for tomorrow, when I explained where all this emotion was coming from. And as I talked to other community members and friends, there is the same sadness and overwhelming sadness and heaviness and just remembering that on this day last year, our lives were turned upside down. Everything just changed overnight. Yeah, that's kind of how the day has gone.
How's your husband Jordan and the kids? How are they processing this? They say that the mind may forget, but the body never forgets. And so I'm wondering, on some primal level, is that heaviness that you're feeling? Are there a lot of folks in your family and in the community that are also feeling it? Just because this is now exactly 1 year later.
Yeah, most definitely. I think Jordan has been feeling it as well this morning, just waking up feeling distracted and not as focused and on things as usual. I don't know that the kids recognize. We haven't really talked about it with them, knowing that my older daughter is so sensitive. I think she would take that to school and have it be very heavy with her all day. So we didn't talk about that before school. But I will say we had I think, like you said, in the body, she could feel it. Like we watched the Rose Parade this year, because where we relocated to was walking distance to view the parade. So we actually took the kids and went by, and a friend came back with us from Altadena, and my daughter started asking her questions like, do you like your home? So I think there was this subconscious understanding to this friend who also lost their home in the fire. I think my daughter was kind of reaching for this, like, how are you working through this? And are you happy with what is home? And it's not, and I don't think she knew the 1 year anniversary was approaching, but she felt compelled to ask these questions about home.
Yeah. And speaking of home, did you and Jordan, I know that you and Jordan have begun the process to rebuild. Give us an update on where things stand and what things stand in the way.
Yeah, I think so. We have been working with an architect to get our plans submitted. We submitted them in September, and I think we are learning of, like many other Altadenans trying to rebuild, we are getting hit with roadblocks and red tape, which is really frustrating. We were told that any permits would be sped up, we would get through faster, it would be a quicker process to help us rebuild. And we're not finding that. We found that we submitted as like for like, so it should have been an even easier, faster process, but it hasn't been. We recently found out the county lost our plans for 4 weeks. So we lost 4 weeks because they didn't forward the plans to a subcontractor. It was only once our architect finally went above their contact that this was found out. And so, we lost 4 weeks of time, right? And we are still waiting since September for our permit. And I continue to hear stories from other Altadenans who, are not waiting, that it's much longer than 90 days. It's been 6 months, 7 months, 4 months. Like, it has been so long. And it is make or break it for many of these families where this is their wealth. Our wealth is tied up to our home and rebuilding our home. And come next year, we'll be paying our rent in our rental right now. We'll be paying the mortgage on our burned down lot, and we'll be paying to rebuild a home. And how long is that sustainable for? And is it? And we are one family, and this is not an isolated circumstance. This is happening to Altadenans all across the city, asking themselves the same questions as they run out of additional living expenses this year, as the county is not pushing through permitting in a timely manner as we were told they would. And it's been frustrating.
I mean, it sounds frustrating, and we really appreciate you giving us an honest update on where things stand, because we hear a lot of things in the press, and people get up at events and pledge to never leave people behind, and we hear that the governor has cut a lot of red tape that was getting in the way of fast tracking things. We certainly have heard that the county has cut red tape, certainly for folks in the Palisades who are also recovering. We've heard the LA mayor, Karen Bass, talk about cutting red tape. And sometimes folks can have the best of intentions, but at the end of the day, does the thing actually happen? And so what I'm hearing is that at the very best, your recovery has been a mixed bag of, it sounds like, starts and stops.
Yes, exactly.
Talk to us about the investigation. There are a number of folks that I've spoken with that believe that California Attorney General Rob Bonta could be doing a whole lot more to investigate and to ultimately hold accountable the folks who are responsible for this. Chief among them, Southern California Edison, whose equipment failed. They've admitted as much, as far as I understand, in the press. What more would you like the California Attorney General to do to offer more than just thoughts and prayers to people like you who have survived really the worst wildfire, one of the worst wildfires we've ever seen?
Yeah, I think it has been said that the Palisades and Eaton fire is now the most expensive natural disaster to have happened in our time, I believe. But and you would think just that alone would garner an independent investigation into the fire response. I think, yes, we all know SCE is liable, is the reason this started, and they have even pushed back from denying that. But what I think is, we know that the bigger problem is that 19 people died in Altadena. 18 of them died in West Altadena, and there were delays in evacuation warnings throughout Altadena, but especially West Altadena. Unfortunately, West Altadena falls on a line that was redlined through the state, through the city for years. So you have the majority of Black and Brown residents who did not get evacuation warnings. And so most of West Altadena is gone because of that. There was no fire trucks. The LA Times did an article where the majority of fire trucks were either in the Palisades or in East Pasadena, where the fire started, and there was one fire truck in West Altadena. And you have so many families that have lost their homes, their generational wealth. It has changed the dynamics and forever changed the community of Altadena. And what we want Attorney General Bonta to do is investigate what went wrong that night. Why were fire trucks not deployed ahead, knowing that winds change? Why was Farnsworth Park evacuated at near midnight by the fire command station, but alerts were still not sent to Altadenans on the west of Lake until 3 a.m? Why were these hours delay? How were they spread to knock on doors? If you talk to residents of Altadena, so many residents made it out alive because of their neighbors, because of neighbors looking out for neighbors, knocking on doors, because I can't tell you also the number of stories I've heard from people who were like, I happened to wake up, or my smoke alarm went off. I looked and looked for an evac warning. I didn't have one. I went to bed that night, but by God's grace, I woke up at 2 a.m. and my child and my husband, we evacuated. And that is so scary to me that there was not a better plan in place to get people out. Those deaths,
the audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says he's angry after a 37-year-old woman was shot and killed by an ICE agent.
We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
Homeland Security claims she tried to ram federal agents and calls it domestic terrorism, while Frey says Department of Homeland Security is framing the shooting as self-defense. Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says some people are profiting off of the Palisades fire through social media and book deals. Speaking with KABC TV, Bass acknowledged criticism over her absence when the fire began. And late rapper DMX will be posthumously ordained as a minister this weekend at Foster Memorial AME Zion Church in Tarrytown, New York. Church leaders say the historic Underground Railroad site is honoring DMX for turning his pain into ministry through his music. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
It's a tough drive out of Santa Monica, the 10 eastbound, just solid away from 20th Street, all the way to Western in Mid-City. That's because the 10 was shut down for some time due to police activity. All lanes have reopened and traffic now trying to recover. Now, this is also causing some very extra heavy volume on surrounding surface streets in the area, as well as nearby freeways like the 105. Northbound slowing, leaving make that the 110 freeway, northbound slowing, leaving the 105 all the way to the 5, and southbound also slows through that same stretch. The drive in Burbank, tough with a crash, 134 westbound, Buena Vista, blocking the left lane of the off-ramp, delays from Central.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The odds makers in Vegas have a lot of confidence in the Rams for their first round playoff game Saturday at Carolina. The Rams are 10-point favorites. The Rams will have wide receiver Devontae Adams back in the lineup. Adams missed the last 3 games with a hamstring injury. The Chargers are 3.5-point underdogs in their playoff matchup Sunday night at New England. Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh's older brother John is the latest NFL head coach to lose his job. 7 teams are now looking for a head coach after Baltimore fired John Harbaugh. Harbaugh was in Baltimore 18 years. This Friday at 6 p.m., Out of Bounds is moving to prime time. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough for 60 minutes of sports chatter with some black folks flavor. And you can be a part of the conversation at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to partner with the Empowerment Congress once again for their 34th annual summit. The summit's theme is From Vision to Action, a forum to unlock participatory democracy, and will feature a nonpartisan gubernatorial candidate forum focused on issues of importance to the African American community. The summit is the signature public policy-oriented observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy during the national 3-day holiday weekend that celebrates his life. This year's summit will be held on Saturday, January 17th, 2026 at the California Science Center in Exposition Park from 9 to 11 a.m. Admission is free, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. All major announced candidates for California governor for the Democratic and Republican Party nominations have been invited to participate in the candidate forum, which will be moderated by Tavis Smiley. An all-star panel of journalists will pose questions to the candidates, and the forum will be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580. This is going to be a big year for local, state, and national politics. The political pulse of 2026 beats on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. National news, the consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Our love ain't no fable. Our love is real. Our love is the gift. Our love is when truly felt, I'm sincerely beautiful. Oh, my beautiful people. Yeah. My beautiful people. My beautiful people. I just wanna be cool with you. I am genuine. I love your soul. I love your soul. I love your soul. I do. I just wanna shine in the night like a star with you. Sincerely, caring, sharing people, oh my people, enterprising, good timing people.
Some of those deaths were people calling for help evacuating, and they never saw help come. And when something like this happens, there needs to be accountability. There needs to be an understanding of what went wrong. Where was it missed in deploying the evacuating? Like, what happened? Where did this chain of command or structure, where were the failures? Because otherwise you can't move forward. This isn't the last wildfire in California. This could happen in so many communities throughout Southern California. This could happen in Altadena again. How are we better prepared next time? And how can you do so without fully understanding everything that went wrong? I'll add to, you keep hearing everybody say, this was just a natural disaster. Everything went wrong. Everything went wrong at the same time. We know that. We understand that. But we need to distill down from that to actually understand the details that went wrong in order to do better next time and in order to move forward. So you almost become sick of this dialogue of everything went wrong. What could we have done? Something, or you can at least learn from those mistakes and own up to them. And that's why we need Attorney General Bonta to open an independent investigation with subpoena power to actually understand who was in charge, who was deploying police vehicles, who was deploying the fire trucks, who was telling firemen to stand down when Altadenans were begging for help as they drove by them on the streets. We need to understand all of those things so that this doesn't happen again. And the Attorney General is the only one with the power to do that and investigate.
So Lauren, you're a part of the group Altadena Altogether. You're Altogether block captain for Altadena for Accountability. What has your group heard from Attorney General Bonta, from his office? Has he responded to your group's call to action at all?
Yeah, so no. Short answer, no. Altadena for Accountability is a coalition of different organizations from Altadena and or with Altadena roots, and they sent their first letter requesting a meeting with him in February. And there have been a few meetings with some of his special counsel throughout the year, but there has been no movement. The only thing we have been told is we cannot confirm or deny whether there is an ongoing investigation, which is very frustrating because there are multiple times throughout history of California when the Attorney General has said they are investigating wrongdoing. So it's very confusing and maddening and hurtful to hear that people lost their lives and died. This is one of the biggest natural disasters in California, but you're not going to investigate anything. You're not going to see what went wrong and understand that. It's mind-boggling to me.
So again, just so I'm clear and our leaders, learners, and listeners are clear, that over the course of the past year, there has been outreach to California Attorney General Rob Bonta's office. There's been a letter correspondence that was sent. There was a February meeting with a special counsel to the office, but my understanding is that you all have not met with the California Attorney General himself, and that his office can neither confirm or deny there's an active investigation.
Correct. There's been multiple outreach, multiple emails, I believe one in-person meeting with a special council member that I was not a part of. And then there's been a lot of radio silence with the emails that we have sent requesting meetings. We had a meeting with his office on Zoom in December, and we're being told they're working on a meeting with us in Bonta, but we have yet to receive any date options, any times, anything concrete to say that we are going to get that meeting to talk with him about having this investigation.
What do you make of the radio silence, Lauren? I mean, you and your family have been through a lot. The people of Altadena and the Palisades, for that matter, have been through a lot. The California Attorney General, Rob Bonta, to your earlier point, has the power to call for an independent investigation. He has a subpoena power that no other prosecutor, quite frankly, has. And doesn't seem to be moving swift enough to meet the moment. Why do you suspect there's such radio silence coming out of the California Attorney General's office on this?
I wish I knew. I don't know if there's a fear of investigating the county, but the Attorney General has done that before. It's investigated other government entities before. So I wish we could understand. I mean, we've been told a little bit. There is another report coming out, but not an investigation. Part 2 of the report, Governor Newsom, I think, asked to happen by the same organization that investigated the Lahaina fires, but it's still a report. Like, it doesn't hold accountability. It's a statement of facts, and that's coming out in February. So there's been some talk of maybe they're waiting to see those results before investigating. But in our minds, we've, especially coming up on the 1-year anniversary, as you drive through Altadena, as you talk to the people of Altadena, still so little has changed. And it still feels like so much support is needed and so much rebuilding of trust between the community and the government and all of it. And I think, as everybody has been saying, we care about Altadena, we'll help, we're going to keep it special and help it rebuild, but it doesn't feel like that when they aren't hearing our call and our request for truth.
Yeah, I can understand why you would feel that way, and we hope that for anybody that is listening to this conversation in the California Attorney General's office, that they hear the cries and hear the pleas of the people of Altadena who've already endured so much, have already suffered so much, or are already doing the best they can on this topsy-turvy road to recovery. At the very least, you would think folks would have the decency to meet with you, to look in your eyes, to hold your hand, to listen to your story. And so it's a new year filled with new possibilities. We hope that is definitely one of them. I want to turn to FEMA for a second, Lauren, because not sure if you heard, but there's news that President Trump is peeling back support for FEMA. There is a fresh round of folks who have been laid off from FEMA. The administration is beginning a wave of layoffs, specifically targeting the folks that are part of CORE, which is the cadre of on-call response and recovery. I'm curious, as to what your experience has been in this recovery working with FEMA, and what do you make of news that the federal government seems to be divesting from an agency that folks like you have relied on in this tough moment in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's terrible and it's sad, and FEMA has helped so many. I mean, I think so many, especially without insurance, it has helped provide some finances and housing. I know CORE has become a big part of the recovery. They have opened up a center here. They're helping people navigate the process. I think even before Trump said this, I think we can see the changes and the funding and the pulling happening in our community. From what I've heard, FEMA has gone the past into disaster zones, renting apartment buildings and larger complexes to help accommodate those who are unhoused. And that is a gap that didn't happen for the Eaton Fire, and a gap filled by local, smaller nonprofit organizations. But we still have so many who do not have stable housing or long-term rentals while they figure out what comes next. I know CORE works with different organizations to provide case managers to help people navigate the recovery process. I mean, Jordan and I are lucky enough that we've been able to navigate the process, but it is so confusing and so difficult. And I talk to neighbors, especially some of our elderly neighbors or neighbors who are not as savvy, and how difficult it is for them to understand remediating their still standing home or knowing how to rebuild and what grants or money or who they should hire and what they should, those case managers give support and a lifeline and a person. And when we launched the case managers out to the Eaton Fire, which come through FEMA and CORE, there's a complete shortage. There are not enough case managers to help the people who are in need. And so people are not even hearing back and have been left so alone and without help.
I mean, I really appreciate you walking us through the work of the people that staff up CORE, which is, an essential team that's a part of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, otherwise known as FEMA. Again, CORE stands for Cadre of On-Call Response and Recovery. Essentially, these are caseworkers that hold folks' hands through what is a very cumbersome, or what can be a very cumbersome process. And so for the president to be taking away resources, to be taking away, bodies that can support survivors like Lauren and her family, it seems unthinkable, but apparently somebody in Washington thought that up, and that's they're executing against. Lauren, in our remaining minutes with you, I want to give you an opportunity to speak directly to our national audience. You have mentioned, not just in this conversation, but in other conversations, that what's happening in Altadena is also happening in other communities. What is possible with this recovery is also possible in other communities. Natural disasters, man-made disasters, they don't know your political party identification. They're not specific to your race or gender identity, right? It impacts us all. And what lessons do you think our country should take away from the Eaton Fire and from the tale of two recoveries when it comes to how the folks in the Palisades are recovering versus the folks in Altadena?
I would say that
this promise.
disaster recovery is not a partisan.
On KBLA Talk 1580, we've got a lot to talk about.
Unwrap LA this winter with Metro. Whether you're heading to a family gathering or last-minute shopping, Metro's got you. Enjoy free rides across Metro on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Move with joy. Move with community this holiday season. Go Metro. Worried about unpredictable utility bills this winter? LADWP's Level Pay makes budgeting a breeze. With Level Pay, you'll receive a monthly bill that stays the same. No surprises. Even past due amounts can be rolled in, and you'll skip those seasonal spikes from heating your home. Sign up today at ladwp.com/levelpay. That's ladwp.com/levelpay, or call 1-800-DIAL-DWP and take control of your bill. Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community, educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit casmpvolunteer.org.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
I think so often we start blaming officials and using maybe their political affiliation as a driver and blaming them, but we're all people, no matter what side we're on, and we're all struggling in different ways. I think this isn't the last natural disaster to ever happen or strike us. I think, it might be fires here, it could be tornadoes or floods somewhere else, or earthquakes, whatever it may be. But I think what is most important is how we take care of each other and the community. And I think when we strip away FEMA, disaster recovery, money from the state, and all these to help our fellow brothers and sisters out, it's not a good thing. Like it doesn't benefit anybody, right? When these communities across the country are never able to come back, when wealth and home and security is lost, no matter where you are and where you're from. And as you know, with Altadena, it's such a special little hamlet within the country of Black middle class wealth. And I think seeing what's happening there is even more devastating as we see gentrification happening, rising home prices, accessibility changing. And it's more important than ever to show up, whether it's with your voice politically, whether it's supporting these organizations that help with disaster recovery. I don't know if that all makes sense.
No, it does.
But
it
I
does.
think taking care of one another, I don't know. Yeah.
You're right. I mean, look, you can't build a more perfect union by yourself.
Yes.
Right. And,
yes.
and even when you're building a more perfect union, life happens, and that includes natural disasters, and we all have to rebuild something at some point, and no one should have to do it alone. Nobody should have to do it where their government is in the way, or just straight up unhelpful. And so thank you for checking in with us, and we'll continue to check in with you. We're going to hold your hand through this recovery as long as it takes. And on this 1-year anniversary, so many of our leaders, learners, and listeners are thinking about survivors like you and your family, and we are cheering you on every step of the way. And Godspeed to you and Jordan and the kiddos.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've been listening to and streaming a More Perfect Talk 1580. More when we come forward. And look, I just want to say a big thank you to Lauren Randolph. I want to say a big thank you to all my guests today, including Jacob Soboroff from MS Now, who joined us at the top of this hour. And it's important that the people of Altadena, the people of the Palisades, everyone who's been impacted by the LA wildfires on this 1-year anniversary know that we are thinking of them, and we are continuing to say their name and to do everything we can to support them on the road to recovery. I would be remiss if I didn't remember some of the Eaton Fire victims: Oswald Altmeds, Carolyn Burns, Edwin Cridlin, Dulcie Curry, Stacy Darden, Kevin Devine, Juan Francisco Espinoza, Miva Fridelli, Earlene Kelly, Barbara Lewis, Evelyn McClendon, Patricia McKenna, Anthony Mitchell Sr., Justin Mitchell, Rodney Nickerson, Victor Shaw, Laura Swain, Kim Winecki, and Shi Feng Zhao. Today marks the 1-year anniversary of the Eaton Fire that took the lives of 19 of the neighbors in Altadena. We say their name. We stand with Altadena Strong. You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We have to leave it here. My thanks to the entire village helps us produce this show. Thanks to our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, Brother Andy, to our show producers, Faraji, Art, and Journey, and to each and every one of you. Do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Maryland and nationwide. Lame duck New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell, who is Black, marked the start of her